Here we have the Breitling Chronomat Chronograph 42, but now in titanium. And I'm excited to take a closer look at this. I am an unashamed Breitling fan. I've been a fan of this brand for many years. And the Chronomat is one of my favorite products that they currently offer. I think it has a great style to it. It's sporty. It's a good option for a watch collector who wants a Breitling but doesn't necessarily love the Navitimer. I know the Navitimer is the icon from the brand, but it doesn't have the water resistance. It's a little visually busy, and there's a definite market for another sport chronograph from this iconic brand. And I think the Chronomat is one of those great options. Now, I'd like to thank Saltzman's Watches for sending this in for a presentation. I have worked with Saltzman's for years in presenting watches, in purchasing from them. I have an active discount code that I will link in the description. So if you are shopping for a great Breitling, Tag Heuer, Oris, if you're shopping Tissot or Hamilton, definitely check out Saltzman's. Links are below. Now, here are some specs for this piece. It's a pretty large watch at 42 millimeters in case diameter, but it definitely plays larger than the dimensions indicate. To me, this feels more like a 43, possibly even a 43 and a half, just depending on how your wrist is shaped. But I like this presence. That's one of the positive things about this Chronomat chronograph in 42. It's a little bit tall, but you know what? That's a sport Breitling chronograph. You want some size, you want some weight, you want some presence, you want some shine. I know some watch collectors call that Breitling bling. A little bit of that is a fun thing for this brand. Now, this has decent bezel action. It is a little difficult to turn, so that's where the rider tabs come into play to help with turning this bezel. The lume is decent considering the size of the application on the hands and markers, but there is nice pusher action, nice crown action with this oversized onion-style crown. So a lot of positives about the style, about how it sits on the wrist, and about the design cues. Other good things about the watch, this has the B01 movement within. That is a 47 jewel in-house chronograph with a column wheel. It has 70 hours of power reserve. It has KIF shock absorbers. It is COSC certified, and it has some very tasteful, some very sharp finishing. And I like the fact that Breitling has started to skeletonize their rotors so that we can see more of this movement architecture. So I like this tried and true B01 that you can see through a sapphire crystal in the reverse of the case. And that's another positive thing about Breitling. I think that they are the best in the business at doing ARC, or anti-reflective coatings. There is a level of clarity and crispness to these crystals that makes such a positive difference to the user experience. I see the dial details, again, such a nice degree of clarity, but even when there are direct light sources that are reflecting off of this crystal, they're minimized, and there's an iridescent blue sheen that comes to play that's not distracting. It doesn't take away from at-a-glance legibility, and I think adds some visual beauty to the overall package. Now, going in on the dial on a macro level, you'll see a vertical dial grain. There are black sunken subdials, and then they have some large concentric circle texturing. So that's nice to see. One positive thing about this is the fact that there is a date. It is a sub-dial color matched date that really blends into the background. So it's present when you need to locate it, but it doesn't feel intrusive. It doesn't overpower the symmetry of the dial. Now, this is on the rouleau style strap. You can buy this on a rouleau bracelet or the rouleau rubber strap. The rubber strap is texturized. It is nice and long for those of us who have larger wrists, and I think it's a fantastic rubber strap. It really matches the style of this, this chronograph very well. There's something about a Chronomat with a rouleau style bracelet or rubber that is, just works really well. Now, Positives before I go into negatives. I think this watch has excellent overall presence. It has versatility. I like the gray color of the dial. This feels distinctively Breitling. And as a Breitling fan, I think that's a positive thing. There is also a lot of options when it comes to dial colors, when it comes to materials, when it comes to sizes, and when it comes to differing complications. Now, I personally like the stainless steel with the green or the copper dials. Those are probably the most attractive to me, and I would love to see a brand colored yellow in the future. Now, going to the not so good aspects about this watch, I think the bezel is a scratch magnet. You see scuffs, you see fingerprints, and as you wear this sports piece over time, this will not look great. It's just a reality of having a high polish finish on a high wear portion of the dial. Now, perhaps Breitling could mitigate that by going to tungsten or putting some sort of hard clear coating on the stainless steel. But as it sits right now, this is a scratch magnet, and I think that's something to be aware of. Now, there is another aspect to this piece that I'm not a big fan of, and that is the premium if you want to buy this on the Rouleau bracelet. And being a bracelet fan, I always like to go with the OEM bracelet. And the bracelet, so if you buy this on the bracelet, it's $12,400, which is a $2,500 price jump from this on the Rouleau rubber strap. And that's a significant price jump. That's like buying a Longines or a used Tudor Black Bay Pro or something like that. That's a big deal for me. So I just don't like the premium if you want to buy this on the bracelet, and the bracelet is fantastic. Now, let's go to some questions as we wrap up this video. 1, how good is this watch? 2, who's it for? And 3, is the titanium worth it over going and saving a little bit of money with stainless steel? Well, my opinion is this watch is really good. You can tell when you hold it, when you handle this, when you put it on the wrist. It's a very well-made chronograph. You feel the quality. And then the look, again, it's distinctively Breitling. It has that Breitling character. It's highly legible. It's functional. It's versatile, but it has powerful presence. I find this one fun to wear. I do think it is one of Breitling's best chronograph offerings. Now, who is this watch for? I think this is for the watch collector who wants to buy a Breitling but doesn't necessarily want to go with that most recognized chronograph in the lineup, which is the Navitimer. This is for that watch collector who wants something more sporty feeling, something that they could take in water with 200 meters of water resistance, and something that, again, is less visually busy than the Navitimer, but still has that distinctive Breitling look with that presence, with the rider tabs, with the Rouleau bracelet. Again, the Chronomat, it's a solid option, and I definitely think it has a place in the watch market. Now, that last question, is this watch in titanium worth the price premium over buying stainless steel? My own opinion is no. It's a little bit more expensive than steel, and I'll put the price differences here on the screen, but visually they almost look identical when it comes to the tone of the metal. This in titanium, it's not dark and muted like, say, my Pelagos from Tudor. This looks very much like the stainless steel, and the weight difference is about 50 grams. So 200 grams in stainless steel versus 150 grams in titanium. I don't know that the weight difference and the difference in the tone of the metal is worth me spending more for a specific dial color, but that's just my own opinion. I am more drawn to the green dial or the copper dial. Let me know what you think. Which Chronomat is your favorite? Do you like this in titanium? What do you think of Breitling as a brand and the direction that they're going? And lastly, if you are looking for a good Breitling authorized dealer, I recommend Saltzman's Watches, a family-owned AD in the East Coast of the United States. They have Breitling, Oris, Tag Heuer, Tissot, Hamilton. I have an active discount code with them, and I'll link all of that in the description below. They've always treated me very well when I've bought from them and when I've borrowed watches from them to present. Thanks for watching today. Please like this video and subscribe for more content like this.